Hi guys, well this is going to be probably the shortest YouTube live we've ever done because Lawrie Brayley and Simon Cowell are nearly asleep on our desks already. It's orphan season, it is manic, it's early by about a month probably. We've actually had over 25 fox cubs who are going to come into the centre. We've managed to avoid some of them by getting them back with their parents or getting them to another centre, but it started. And Lawrie and his girlfriend Alana have been feeding pretty much incessantly. Do I want that word, incessantly? Never mind, we'll leave that. But they've been feeding so frequently, every 2 hours, day and night. And if you can imagine, I think they've got 6. How many fox cubs have you got at the moment? 6?
We have 6.
Okay.
And then I think Alice still has 2 and Naomi has 1.
So loads of orphans in. So 6 fox cubs sounds easy, doesn't it? Doddle. But every 2 hours, right through the day and night. This is why Lawrie looks as bad as he looks this evening. Just look at those eyes. Deep, sunken, dark, and he hasn't even had time to shave. You can see that quite clearly. Very sad.
Oh, yeah, so, are you saying that because you happen to have shaved?
I always shave for live stream. And I comb my hair, what I've got left of it, and I shave. So yeah, orphan season started.
We're all doing too much work to do that.
It is. I know we haven't got time to do anything. So, you know, if Lawrie and I both fall asleep in 5 minutes, you are brilliant. When I hurt my finger, we got the biggest donations ever. So every time Lawrie and I disappear off the screen like that, another £5 will wake us up again. So that's the way to get the fundraising going tonight. It is busy. Orphan season is an odd time for us because all through, you know, from November through to February or early January, we're all whinging. It's so quiet, we're bored, we hate it. When is the orphan season going to start? And then you get this 1 week when orphan season starts and you're all excited and everything's great and wonderful. And then after a week of orphan season, oh God, when's it going to go quiet again? So it's like that, guys, and it's going to be like that probably for the next 5 or 6 months here now. We love it. I'll whinge about it every day, so I whinge about everything every day, including Lawrie. But never mind.
Repeatedly.
It's fun. I've only got two Badger Cubs to look after. I'm sure we'll see some pictures of those later on, and Lawrie will tell us a bit more about that. And I can tell you a bit more about that as well. Very up and down, these Badger Cubs this year. They've been fine, then suddenly they go right off the boil. They get very dehydrated, they get very pale gums, and the vets have to come down and give them subcut fluids. And then they're great, and they take a couple of feeds, then off they go again. So it's a bit like a yo-yo with the Badger Cubs. I never get happy and relaxed about Badger Cubs until they're about 3 kilos. The 2 we've got now are about, well, one's just over 1 kilo, one's just under 1 kilo. One's got the fattest tummy ever, which reminds me of me, and one's a skinny little rake, reminds me of Lawrie. So we've got them in, and hopefully they'll be the start of what could be 15 or 20 Badger Cubs by the end of the season. They'll all go up into the top flight and all go through the process, and then we start it all again next year. So yeah, it's exciting. We love it. I whinge about it every day, but it's a busy time for us. And Lawrie, what have you got to say about orphan season? Are you enjoying feeding your fox cubs?
Oh yeah, orphan season is always something that we really look forward to and really don't look forward to at the same time. It's certainly the busiest time we will get. So last year I think we had almost 70 fox cubs arriving at the centre throughout the entire orphan season. It gets absolutely manic. We have hundreds, if not thousands, of baby birds.
Beards. We got baby beards.
Yeah, it's like flying otter all over again. But we have many of our volunteers working absolutely throughout the day and night, feeding birds, foxes, everything. So it's amazing to see so many people come together and make it all work. Obviously on the rescue side of things, we're a lot busier as well. Obviously, ideally we wouldn't have that, but it gets us out and about, keeps us off the street corners.
We should say a quick thanks. I was just going to say a quick thanks because obviously we have lots of orphan feeders all doing all the orphans, but when they're very baby, we need really experienced people. So you've got Lawrie, God help us. You've got his girlfriend Alana. You've got Stanny, who I should say no more about. You've got Alice. You've got who else? You've got Angela Warren. All our experienced orphan feeders are flat out now. Everybody sort of goes home with little sort of handbags, which are actually baby animals in their baskets tonight, and brings them back the next morning. But that's what they need. And then as soon as we can break contact with them, obviously we do that. And as soon as we get, the Badger Cubs we've got are just about going on to solids now. So as soon as they really are on solids, we can drop the milk away. We don't have to go anywhere near them so much, and they'll go through the process. So we like to drop contact as soon as we can with them, because we don't want to humanize them, we don't want to imprint them, which some centres aren't quite as good as us as doing, and I do get very cross. Lawrie will tell you I get very, very cross when things don't go right.
You always get very, very cross.
Whether
things go well or things go badly, or you look at the news, you don't look at the news. You're just in a perpetual state of slightly annoyed.
That's because I'm old. I'm a grumpy old man. I do meet the criteria to be a grumpy old man. The lovely thing about it being so grumpy and so old is I actually forget that a grumpy old man 5 minutes after I've made the comment. So it works for me, guys. It does work for me. So tell us something, Lawrie. Let's go on. Let's let Lawrie say something. I've spoken most of this time so
Nobody
far.
wants to hear me.
Oh, they do. They do. They love you more than me, and that really upsets me too. So I'm going to be grumpy about that as well.
We've had several questions that have actually come in about the foxes and the badgers. He's gone completely deaf. I can talk so much about him. Simon, nobody likes you, Simon.
I've got you now. I heard that.
Oh, come on.
I've heard that one. It did go
several questions coming in about the foxes and the badgers that we were discussing earlier. A few people saying how often are the fox cubs fed? So the ones that we have and the ones that Naomi and Alice have, they're roughly every 2 hours. They'll stay on that one for a little bit of time until they open their eyes, and then they move on to 3 hourly and then 4 hourly, and it will grow and grow and grow until when they're here, they're on top-ups roughly twice a day. When they're sort of more adult sized and they're up in the big pens at the top of the centre. There are a few of them that will be going on to the webcams side of things very soon. So that is in our main orphan unit, I suppose, what we call SU1 or Silent Unit 1. That's just up at the centre at the moment. Simon will be flicking through the cameras. If he sees anything, we can make that live. But they will be going up there very soon. We already have quite a few up there. Several of our cubs have actually left recently to other centres. It's really vital that fox cubs interact with their own kind. So if another centre has a single fox cub and they need another fox cub to keep with that one, we sort of move them around the centres depending on who's got. So a few of ours have gone, but we do have a lot here at the moment, and it's only the beginning.
There's sort of reluctant cooperation between centres this time of year. We also love the orphans. Everybody loves the orphans. And when you've got just one, like we had one Badger Cub for about 3 or 4 weeks, which was really worrying me. So I was ringing everybody right through the UK saying, please, have you got a Badger Cub? Then luckily Essex Badger Group rang us up and said they had one. We'll bring it down in a couple of days. And I said, if you could have it down here in 2 hours, I'd be ever so grateful. So yeah, we do mix and match, and equally, you know, some people might get too many later on and we take them back again. So we mix and match, and it also mixes the bloodlines too, because I mean, the one group of 8 fox cubs the other day, which were unearthed on a building site, and they wouldn't let us go at night. Lawrie and I wanted to go back at night with cameras and with kits so we could get the fox cubs back out there and see if mum came. That's the best result. If we can get these animals back to their parents, it's really important, which is why it's important for you not to touch. If you touch the fox cubs at all for any reason, wear gloves, don't get human scent on them. If they have to come in, just to be checked over, but we will try to get them back, and then we'll put cameras up, we'll sit there for 2 or 3 hours to see if mum comes back to get them. So, you know, if you do find something, we do always try to get them back with the parents. Poor mum and dad will be frantic missing them, and these 8 fox cubs actually went to another centre because the people who brought them into us, or brought them in, said they wouldn't let us go back on the site at night because it was a secure building site and all this sort of thing. You can't fight City Hall. We try regularly. So that's how we do it. We try to get them back if we can. If we can't, we'll give them the very best chance. To be honest, if they're with us, they probably stand a better chance of going back to the wild at the end of the day than they would if they're in the wild, because, you know, so many youngsters don't make it to their first birthday. Fox cubs, a massive percentage, 70% I think I heard once, don't make it to their first birthday. Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah, 70%.
Huge. So
the average lifespan of an urban fox is only 18 months, which is terrifying, especially considering if you take that away, they can live up to the same as a dog, sort of 11, 15 years.
Yeah, so we do our best. We really try. And I think one thing to everybody now, from now on, please, 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 fox cubs, badger cubs are getting bigger. They're beginning to get more adventurous. They're venturing out of the earth or the set, wherever they are, and they get lost, and it happens all the time. Don't handle them unless you have to. If you can get them back or ring us. We'll give you advice of how to get them back. We'll do our very best to make sure they don't have to come into us. But if you do see something and it's in trouble, then obviously ring a wildlife centre, get advice, and the chances are, if it's looking a bit weak or in a dangerous place, they will obviously take them in. We will get them on and we will get them through. So every day now, just look out for anything around your garden, stuck in fences, stuck in football nets. If you've got football nets or any sort of netting, tennis nets in your garden, just go and check it once a day. That's all we're asking. Go and check it to make sure nothing's got stuck in it. Fruit netting, vegetable netting, all these sort of things. A quick round around the garden will do you good for a start in lockdown, and will obviously probably save a wild animal as well. Lawrie, off you go.
So on that note as well, many people have actually been donating through this live stream over on the super chat on YouTube, so thank you so much to every single one of you who has been donating over the past couple of minutes. There are so many here. So it's of course FXP1688, better known as Sven.
Never heard of him. Never heard of him, Lawrie.
He's donated €100 as usual, which is absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Sven. Riaz donated £2. Peter, £10. I like your work. Can I ask how many call-outs you get dealing with bats? Most of the bats that we deal with tend to get brought into the centre. Most of them are either stuck to glue traps, caught in spiders' webs, or cat attacks, or things like that. We do occasionally go out to bats. The ones that I remember recently, there was one that was stuck in a light fitting in someone's house, and one that had only just woken up from hibernation and was trapped on the outside of someone's window. We do those occasionally, but it's relatively rare we'll have a bat call out, I think. We do
get calls from hysterical ladies, don't we? We get calls from hysterical ladies because there's a bat flying around their house and they're terrified. So we do go out to those because they're just standing cowering in a corner saying, please take this bat out of my house. They're actually quite hard to catch. They do get into tiny gaps. I mean, a bat can crawl into a gap that's about ½ an inch wide, so a tiny gap. And Lawrie and I have been out before when we've had to scour a room. And obviously there's lots of little tiny gaps between books, between curtains, all sorts of things. We do find eventually we take out a bat detector with us so we can hear the bats calling, so it gives us a clue if it's there or not. But yes, it's quite an interesting time of year. I love this time of year. I mean, rescues are what I live for. And you see Lawrie and I on screen all the time because he just wants to be on screen as well. He's only got half the screen. I did measure it tonight to make sure he's only got half the screen. But I mean,
you do know what's going to happen if you keep talking.
I know you're just going to slide me off.
No, I won't slide you off. I'll do this.
Oh well, there we are. See, nothing. See, please move on. Excellent. You did that on purpose, didn't you? You stalled that out.
Oh yeah. See, I've planned this because I know exactly where you're going to take it.
So now I'm going to go somewhere totally different now. So it's really important. And now you've made me lose entirely the track of what I was going to say. You see Lawrie and I on screen, but I mean, there's a huge workforce behind us. All our volunteers, all the staff here at Wildlife Aid. I mean, without them, we would not function. I mean, Lawrie and I, just the tiniest part of it, to be honest. They are brilliant. They're all brilliant. They give countless hours. They give countless amounts of their time, and everybody supports us like crazy. So to everybody here who works for us in any way, shape or form, be it just the maintenance guys or whatever, it takes every single person to make it work. So thank you guys. You can either decide to look at Lawrie or me. Perhaps we should have votes. Who wants to look at who most? I think we should charge £1 a vote. That's another way of raising money, Lawrie, isn't it?
Just quickly, we have noticed that some of you are saying that the live stream is a little laggy tonight. I'm just looking at the bandwidth on there, and it is looking quite low. You're not downloading anything or anything? No, it's... I apologise for that one. We have been having a number of minor internet issues, and a few of you said that YouTube have been having issues recently. It does look very, very low, so I apologise if it's lagging or dropping out or anything for any of you. Hopefully that will fix itself over the course of the live stream.
It's not our fault, Lawrie.
I will keep an eye out.
It's not our fault, is it? We's innocent. We's innocent, definitely. I blame Lawrie.
I will keep an eye on it. There's nothing else open on my side, so... but we are running on very low bandwidth.
Absolutely. So where are we going to go to next? What are we going to talk about? I know I've got lots of stuff, but I'm trying to let you do a bit because I keep talking over the top of you because I'm like that. Do you want to do rescues? Do you want to do some other things? There's so much to go through tonight, actually.
There is. Before we get into all that one, just on the donation front on there, what we are going to do in this live stream as well, thank you so much to everyone who has already donated, but if you want to donate to us during this live stream, we're actually running a Just Giving campaign at the moment to raise money for new trail cameras. So if you don't know what trail cameras are, they're sort of motion activated little cameras that we put near dens and sets and things like that, especially if we get calls about fox cubs, badger cubs, anything abandoned, so that we can monitor to make sure that that set has either been abandoned and there are no adults present, or the activity only happens at night. We can make sure that that cub is still being cared for. They are an absolutely vital tool. You'll have seen them used fairly regularly along many of our YouTube videos, and unfortunately the ones that we use at the moment are not working. 3 of them have had major electrical issues.
Lawrie broke the trail cams. Lawrie broke
and when you try and turn them on,
Lawrie broke the trail cams. We all went to bed.
Shush! You're a child.
I felt like a song. I mean, we do go out. We use trail cams a lot. We went out, in fact, a couple of years ago to somebody who had some fox cubs in their garden. They look quite good when they sent the pictures of us, because we always get people now to send in pictures, which is really helpful to us because it gives us a real good impression of what rescue it might be, what the situation is. So they send us some pictures of these fox cubs, and they look really quite healthy. They said they haven't seen mum around for days, and now ask, oh, let's come back on again. So we took out the trail cams, we left them out, we sat back in the car and watched them, and lo and behold, these fox cubs trotted in and were looking around. And mum appeared from behind a garage. I mean, so quickly, so stealthily, we didn't see her come in. She came in, fed the fox cubs, and went away again. And these people would not believe it. They said, you've got to take them away. These fox cubs are going to die. And they had great big tummies. They were absolutely fine. So that's why trail cams are so useful for us to see what's going on. And in the end, they did accept that mum was coming in and feeding them, because after 2 weeks, these fox cubs were looking bigger and fatter without any problem at all. So trail cams very useful, guys. So if you want to support that initiative, that's absolutely fine. If you want to support my pension retirement, that's fine as well.
So if you did want to support us on the Just Giving campaign for the trail cameras, if you head to bit.ly/trailcameras21, unfortunately you do need the capital letters when you enter that one. Abby will have dropped that into the chat there. Any support on that will be greatly appreciated, and all of those will be used within the next coming weeks for finding cubs and hopefully getting them back with their parents. So thank you to anyone who can help us out on that.
Or even Lawrie, finding when Lawrie went out of the office and didn't come back for 3 hours because she was sneaking up the garden having a chat with someone. I use trail cams all over the place, which he doesn't even know about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Nor have I, Lawrie. That's the bliss of being old.
This is a fairly regular occurrence that I have no idea what he's talking about. There's apparently people are having a lot of problems with lagging. If you do have a lagging stream, please try reloading it. Hopefully that will fix some of the issues. We are monitoring it this end. Hopefully it will pick up, but I think unfortunately it's the internet this side that's not helping matters.
Yeah,
hopefully you can still hear us though.
Does that mean they can watch it later on, Lawrie, but not live? Will it not lag then? So if you
should be able
later,
to, yes. Should be able to. We will see.
Cool.
So, patient-wise, we've been seeing an awful lot of things come in over the past 2 weeks. Obviously, a lot of them are orphaned animals. We are in our orphan season, but there's quite a lot that isn't as well. So, if we start off on the ones that aren't orphaned, this little guy turned up the other day. This is a common toad, which is the sort of the main species of toad that we get here in the UK.
I won't say anything to that, Lawrie. I'm not going to say any comment to that at all.
Yes, it looks like me. I'll say it there. There you go. See, look, you can see him giggling as well.
See the likeness, can't you?
Yep, I am a toad. So that was actually brought into us by a member of the public who was worried it had a leg injury. Luckily, all was fine on that one, and it was able to head back out to the wild very soon after that. But it's quite nice to see an amphibian. We do see reptiles and amphibians here on a fairly regular basis, but they're certainly not our most common thing. We've also seen this little guy. This is a black-headed gull in full, beautiful breeding plumage, and that one was here. It's been here quite a while, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, good few, about three weeks, I think.
About 3 weeks, but it's making fantastic progress on there. You can see he's eating us out of house and home for all of the fish that we can possibly buy, and he is doing very, very well on there. A couple of comments actually. I was wondering if foxes can have COVID. Not that I am aware of at this stage. There's been no cases of any wild animals catching COVID as far as I'm aware. If there has been, I'm just not aware of it. We've also, another orphan, had this little guy. This is an Egyptian Gosling, treated under license, that arrived unfortunately after being found abandoned. They waited 2 hours for a parent to show, and sadly no one showed up. But as with all young birds, they really rely on the contact of others of their species. So that has actually gone off to the Swan Sanctuary, which is another rescue sort of just down the road from us in Shepperton, who have taken that and is currently with, I believe, 5 others. So he's going to have a much better chance at heading back to the wild in that scenario.
This is why wildlife centres do mix together. I mean, Mel at the Swan Sanctuary, who's taken over from Dot, who sadly died last year. Dot was, she was even more cantankerous than I was, actually. I love Dot. Scared the living hell out of me, Dot. But Mel's taken over now and she's running it. But I mean, they've taken a lot of patience from us. We get quite a few swans in, and they find when we need to operate on them and medicate them, whatever, but they get very lonely. Swans aren't solitary creatures, they like to be together. So we do take most of our swans over to the Swan Sanctuary. Mel does an amazing job over there, amazing premises, much better than ours, I hasten to add, and they look after all our swans and some of the other things as well. So a big shout out to the Swan Sanctuary, they're very good to us. Again, it is the cooperation between other centres that makes all this wildlife rehab system work.
Yes, yeah, so a huge thank you to Mel and everyone over at the Swan Sanctuary, and they will be mentioned again as we talk about this. So
I'm not mentioning them again, Lawrie. One mention, that's all they get.
A few of you have been asking for updates on some of the swans that we've had in. So there is an awful lot of swans that we've had in. Unfortunately, many of them have had some quite nasty injuries. Luckily, all of them are doing well at the moment. Just had a question, what became of the swan that was attacked by a dog? Doing well. The neck injury was taking a little time to heal because it was quite deep, and there was a lot of necrotic skin around there, needed a lot of debriding and several surgeries. But that swan has done well and is now over at the Swan Sanctuary. Just for the last stage of rehabilitation, it's really helpful if they can interact with other swans during that. It calms them down, it speeds up the recovery process. So that swan is over there.
We saw him actually last week, Lawrie, didn't we? We saw that swan and he was very happy. Very happy he was.
Yeah. As is the swan that was shot in the eye. So if you were here for our previous live stream, or you follow us on our main social media, things like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, you will have seen this story. I'll try and dig it out for you. So unfortunately, this one was shot with a catapult, and this was the result. That is sadly a catapult bearing lodged in the eye socket of the swan that needed surgery to remove it. Here's the pellet as it came out. But luckily that swan has made a wonderful recovery. Unfortunately, it did have to lose the eye, but swans can survive perfectly fine with only one eye. And that swan, as well as the other one, is over at the Swan Sanctuary, just interacting with other swans, just in the last stages of its rehabilitation. But we're hoping when they are ready to be released back to the wild, we'll head over there, we'll meet up with Mel again, and we can film that and bring that whole story to a close for you guys as well on the video side of things.
I think the nicest thing about that whole story, actually, we took the swan over there, chatted with Mel, we put the swan in the pond, and it just sort of wandered off, was swimming around a little pond in front of its enclosure. And another swan came down, there's a bit of chat going on, a bit of sort of female-male chat going on there.
The Barry White was playing, as it was said at the time.
It was, because it was so beautiful. I mean, they looked at each other, they started moving their necks, and they do this lovely heart-shaped thing where their necks go together and they cross over and come back and whatever. And these two swans, obviously it was love at first sight. Rather like Lawrie and I, really, love at first sight.
We left them to it.
We did. I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed by that. I can't watch. I hope they got condoms, I thought to myself. Laurie's now worried that I've said that word, but it's all right.
I'm going to block your screen.
It's not
again.
A swear word. But I mean, it was so beautiful to watch them interacting together, and in the end, our swan, which had just arrived, got out the pond and followed the other one back into the enclosure where there was probably another 10 or 15 swans, but it was so beautiful to watch. I had a tear in my eye, Lawrie. I had a tear in my eye for that one. Beautiful.
There have been many other swan rescues that happened recently as well. A few of you over on our other social media will have known about this particular case. Now, this was over at Yule Court park near Chessington here in Surrey, and this is a swan that unfortunately we thought had been shot again. There were numerous reports of a young group of kids sort of messing around with BB pistols or air rifles or something similar, and this swan unfortunately did have a wound to the face that we did get out. We did x-ray. There isn't a pellet in the head at all, luckily. It might have bounced off or sort of gone in and out. It was treated just to make sure. It went through the whole process, painkillers, antibiotics, we cleaned the wound, we did everything like that. That swan is also over at the Swan Sanctuary with Mel, with the same group of swans, so all of those swans are together. It's really, really helpful for them to develop with others of their own kind, and over at the Swan Sanctuary they have much better facilities for dealing with large groups of swans than we do here. We do have ponds, but they have really nice big enclosures for them, and that one is also doing well and should hopefully be released very soon. We will do that as soon as we know more.
Laurie, you did miss a little bit off that story, didn't you? Laurie has missed a little bit off that story, so we're going to make Laurie not speak. We're going to mute Laurie. I need a little button here, I can mute Laurie. So we went over to this place to get the swan. We got the boat out. It was very silty and horrible and nasty and whatever. And Laurie, being young, being fit, being able, jumped into the water. Positively jumped into the water. And he was up to about his knees. It was fine. He was wandering around trying to.
It was ankle deep at first.
Ankle. So
I thought I was safe.
He was wandering around, and suddenly, in one step, he went from ankle deep to nipple deep, just like that. And two things emerged from that. One is he wasn't quite expecting it, and the second is he had a 500-pound radio mic in his pocket, which got extremely dunked. Extremely. So we're going to be fundraising soon for a new radio mic because they're 500 quid a touch.
You can hear it die.
It went. And
it's a radio mic we've had for a long time actually. It's a layover from our OTB series.
Stop making excuses,
unfortunately,
Laurie.
we have drowned
excuses. Laurie drowned the radio mic. He did.
I also drowned my car keys, my phone, my torch that I had in my pocket,
and a load of his personal credentials got drowned as well.
My wallet.
He waited. He didn't stop. He didn't give up. He went on forward, and he got incredibly stinky and muddy. In fact, I wouldn't let him come back in the car when he finished because he stank like a polecat. He stank worse than a polecat. It was very stagnant, nasty sort of silty water. In fact, at one point he was so deep in silt, not in water but in silt, that he had to hold on to the side of the boat to get his feet out of the silt and mud. Yeah, it was a bit dodgy. But we got the swan. I would never expect anything less of Laurie. Laurie will not give up. He's the most stubborn man I've ever met.
I will give you that.
I will walk away and I will say, Laurie, we'll come back another time. Laurie will go for it. We could have still been there at midnight having a picnic. But no, we got the swan, it was fine, everything's worked out, and that's, as Laurie said, it's gone over to Swan Sanctuary. But yeah, we do go the extra mile. We do usually get our man, as it were, or our wild animal in our case. So all credit to Laurie. I looked at the water and thought, well, I'm not going in there, and hopefully Laurie will volunteer, which he did, which is really lucky because there's nowhere I was going in that. I would have died.
I regret it.
It was actually a favour to Laurie. It was a favour to you, Laurie, because at the end of the day, if I had have gone in, I'd have probably had a heart attack. You'd have then had to give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, and that would have made you really upset. So, you know, just think of me doing you a favour, Laurie.
Incidentally,
really.
The defibrillator is literally just the other side of the door.
It is. Now, they bought that. They thought, as a centre, as a wildlife centre, we should really have a defib. We should really have a defib here. I reckon they thought, Christ, Simon's so bloody old that we better get one in case he carks it and we're not ready for it. So
Janet has just said, actually, Laurie is robust, he's a northerner. Yep. It's the usual thing where if a northerner is cold, they put on a second string vest. There is certainly a... I've lived down in the south for 6 years now, so it's probably taking it out of me, but...
Yeah, it's a string vest. The image of the string vest has completely phased me, Laurie. Completely phased me, guy.
I have no idea. I've no idea what you're
saying.
So
let's move swiftly on before we get
you on the
too romantic with each other.
It's just hung up on you. So
what else we got?
What you're actually talking about. So,
Laurie, you've gone again.
As I try and call you back.
I've got no ears, Laurie.
I know. I'm trying to call you back. We'll get there. This is modern technology. Simon doesn't particularly enjoy modern technology.
He's not. I've got nothing.
We lost phone signal.
Oh, there he is.
This is what happens when we're in different offices.
Yeah, I lost Lawrie. I lost
There we
Lawrie
go.
on my phone. There he is. He's on my phone to his office, and it's so complicated, this setup. It's ridiculous. So he probably said loads of nasty things about me. I repudiate all of them. He was wrong, and I will take him to court next week for everything he said about me.
So,
you may continue.
Back to patient-wise as well, we've also had a number of these guys arriving over the past couple of weeks. Now, this one's a baby wood mouse, but we've also seen many other species of mouse, species of rat, species of vole, shrews, things like that. They're very common at this time of year. Unfortunately, people who are doing work in their sheds or anything like that, they can accidentally disturb a nest, and very, very sadly, the mothers will often abandon their young if they are disturbed too much. Now these guys are cared for by two incredibly dedicated people on the team here, one of whom is Alice, who is in the chat. Alice is our office manager. She does a lot of those, and the other is also in the chat, and we need to say happy birthday to, because it was her birthday recently, and that is Myra. So happy birthday for yesterday, Myra, and thank you so much for everything
Lawrie,
that you do for the rodents as well.
She won't remember it's her birthday. She's so old, Lawrie.
You're so cruel. How do we still have volunteers here if you're being this cruel?
All right, Myra, you keep going. Okay, we're here for you, Myra.
Myra, this is for you. There you go.
Oh, God. I'm gone again. I'm gone.
You are blanked. You're officially out of the conversation for the
I
time
want to be
being.
able to do that as well. I want to have it the other way around so I can blank
See,
you.
The power is wonderful.
Myra's so nice, she even donated to our Just Giving page.
Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but Myra is so nice. She's even donated to our Just Giving page as well. So huge thank you to you, Myra. Donating not only your time to helping us out over here, but your money as well. That is incredibly kind, and Simon will think incredibly naughty of you, but thank you very, very much.
Lucy's just said LOL, which I never understood what that meant till recently.
Laugh out loud.
Slap him, Myra. Slap him. So I consider myself... Oh, God, that really hurt. And I hit my earpiece in my earphone too.
You
Myra,
totally
thank you.
deserve that.
You know I love you, you old baggage. Simon loves you. He loves every volunteer here, whether I let it on or not. Let it on? Let on. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, Lawrie. Take me out of here. Swipe me away, Lawrie. Swipe me away.
I'm going to have to change that screen to say something different each time we do one of these.
Absolutely.
You'll never know what's going to appear.
What other rescues have we had, Lawrie?
We've had an awful lot of rescues. Before we get onto that, we'll just go through some of the orphans that we have had. So as you said, we've now onto our second Badger Cub. So these are the two of them that the second cub only joined us earlier this week, so it's really been just a few days that they've been together. Our first cub arrived eyes closed, barely with any fur, and now quite a chunky little female, that one. The newest one is a male, is a bit smaller but is doing okay. Having a little issues with dehydration, but our vet Maru and Sally are both looking at them constantly. They are making slow improvements, but it is a very, very slow process on that one.
When I was waving just then, I was just waving just then, whether you noticed it or not, I was waving because that was Maru coming into my office, going through to give the badger some sub-cup fluids, then going out again the other side. So Maru's in here just watching it every couple of hours, making sure it's doing all right. And we will get him through. Stubborn little devil, just like me really, isn't he?
Yeah, I can confirm. The other thing, we've had a lot of these guys. Now this is a fox cub. In my personal opinion, one of the cutest young animals we get in at the centre, though I imagine we'll have many arguments on that one. But we now have quite a few at the centre. We've seen an awful lot of males this year. Usually it's about a 50-50 split, but we've seen a lot more males than we normally would for this time of year. They're all from various ages, so this guy that's on screen at the moment is over 2 kilos, but our smallest one weighs only 150 grams, which is absolutely tiny, literally only a week and a half to 2 weeks old. They are doing really, really well. So this is them in the pod. This is the pod that my partner Alana currently has of where I live.
Lawrie, I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Lawrie,
yeah.
Lawrie, let me stop you. I'm going to go onto the webcams. We've got one fox cub out. He's going to disappear any second. All you're going to see is his tail. There, his tail's just vanished.
And the tail's gone in.
Into the. We've got. We've got one out. One playing in the other webcam. So we've got him playing. We can see all the enrichment we put out for them. Right in the back, which you may not see, but we can, is a fox cub just playing around, having a bit of a game. They do play. They're amazing. They're so playful, these fox cubs. But we try to give them varying enrichment. We change it all quite regularly. He's now gone out. You can just see a tail at the back flashing around. So yeah, our webcams are always very busy, and we watch them all day, every day, to make sure that nothing's in trouble. And if you look at the centre at the moment, if you look at the webcams again, I know they can't see this one. Yes, they can.
Yes, they can.
So there's Maru still here. Obviously, Pat's just Pat and I think is that Pete behind? No, who is it behind? It's not Pete.
I'm not sure.
That's
but
Pat
is one of our volunteer rescuers. She does so many fox rescues for
huge
us.
amount.
A huge thank you to you, Pat.
She's just brought a fox in now. Maru's obviously looking at it. So there's Maru. Here we are. What are we? 7:30 at night. Maru's still here. Maru will be here till probably 10 o'clock tonight, doing things and looking after patients. So we do work 24/7. Lawrie and I do the late shifts, but I mean the vets and people are here, staff are here until probably 11 at night. And in the very busy time, another couple of months, there'll be people still here at midnight. So it's absolutely insane, this place.
Especially with the orphan feeding as well. A lot, certainly the rodents, they take sort of every 15 minutes, every half an hour, some of the really, really small ones, especially the baby birds as well. Fox cubs wise, we tend to finish the feed at 2 a.m. and then restart at 6 a.m. So there's a 4-hour gap in there, but other than that, it's basically all the way through. And the rodents, certain ones have to be all the way through. I'm just looking at Fox Cubs
playing again, Lawrie. If you go onto the Fox Cubs again, they're playing at the moment on my cam.
There you go. So this is live as well. So this is happening right now. They are rather cute. And if you do want to see them in your own time, if you head over to our website, which is wildlifeaid.org.uk, you can click on the webcams, the videos and webcams tab on there, and we'll have 4 live cameras streaming 24/7 if you wanted to watch some of our patients.
Or you can always just watch Lawrie. Perhaps you should put a webcam on Lawrie. You can tell me how many times he goes to sleep, how many times he takes personal calls, how many times he chats to his girlfriend, and how many times he sneaks.
My girlfriend works here.
His girlfriend brings him lunch. Can you imagine? Every day he comes in, I've got my lunch. My girlfriend's got me lunch. I don't get any lunch. I just starve to death. Look at me, little skeleton that I am. But no, so yeah, it's such a team effort here, guys. You know, I don't know, I can't really describe what it means to me, because without them it wouldn't work. And you see Lawrie and I, but there's 375 people, probably more, behind us who make all this centre happen. And it's why your money is vital to us. It keeps us going in these COVID times. Donations and money in is very, very tight. And you know, we're also trying to build a new centre, which is that's a huge money. Anybody wins a lottery this weekend, please give me a call. I'll be ever so grateful. That's going to be about $6.5 million to build that centre, but I think it's important. I think the new centre for us, to me, the new centre is vital, because I think it's education. What we do is brilliant. We take these animals, we get them better, we get them out. And it's just a tiny percentage. We deal with 20,000 incidents a year. But what we need is to be able to stop those incidents occurring. So if we could educate vets and educate vet nurses and educate members of the public and get them all excited about it, then that's really great. And later on we're going to talk a little bit about IDOT again, which you keep missing, IDOT guys. IDOT is something which is I do one thing, and if you think everything we do every day, if we go and rescue something, that's an IDOT. If somebody picks up a bit of litter, that's an IDOT. Lawrie being nice to me, that's an IDOT. I mean, all these.
It's the other way around. It's really the other way around.
I don't want to do too many IDOTs. I'd always
You're being called a bully in the chat as well.
I'm always a bully, but I
will be nice.
I'm not going to say. Yes, Lawrie does this. He's always nice on screen. Everybody thinks I bully him. When we go off screen, he's so horrible to me.
It wasn't the buzzard that injured your finger.
He did a gesture.
That's the way we make it
He did a gesture to me this afternoon, which cut me to the quick. I was heartbroken. He did a gesture all over the cameras to me just before we came on air, and he knows what it is. He's going to smile at me because he's going to remember.
I'm trying to work this out.
I'm not going to do it on air, but it just evolved one digit, Lawrie.
Oh,
one
I know.
digit.
Yeah, you
that's
totally
the one.
deserve that.
That's it.
Please don't do that on air.
You totally deserve that.
We're not going to do it on
air.
air.
Immediately
We're not.
Off air.
But no, honestly, it's a tight team. We're very passionate about what we do. We joke, we laugh, we whatever. But without everybody here, this place wouldn't work. It's as simple as that. It's so simple.
Yeah, we are very lucky. Simon and I are very lucky doing this sort of side of things. A lot of you know who we are, but there is a huge team behind us as well, and not just on the volunteer, the admin side, anything like that, but also on the rescue side. We have a massive team of volunteer rescuers as well that work absolutely flat out, especially people like Pete, Pat and Mike that have been doing things recently, Stuart as well, Ron's usually in there. There's so many people that do many sort of 10 to 20 rescues a day all over the county, sort of picking up anything from a collapsed fox to a deer in netting to anything like that. It isn't just Simon and I that do the rescues on this side. There is a huge team as well. So we do want to say thank you so much to everyone involved in there, and please extend your wishes to them as well, because whereas they might not want to appear on camera, they're still equally as important, if not more so. So many comments have been coming in over the past 40 minutes actually. God, 40 minutes. So huge thank you to everyone who has left a question. We'll try and get through as many as we can. The first, because I find it hilarious, is from Brent Miller. Has Simon learned to carry a second set of car keys?
Well, I'm not sure that was really my fault, Lawrie, in a way.
Oh, it was.
I think we can.
You lost them.
It was the owl. It was for car keys were
owl.
fine. Are we going to show this clip now, just to make me look like a complete and utter peanut?
The clip is, if you have a look at the video that we uploaded on Tuesday, you will see the glorious slow motion of the moment that Simon lost the £300 keys to the car. It's amazingly expensive to get new ones of those programs. And it slipped down a pocket next to the owl in the bag that it was in. So he spent probably half an hour looking for them, sheepishly gave me a call. I came over and spent probably another 20 minutes looking for them. No one could find anything. Got it back to the centre, got it in with Maru. You happen to put your hand down that pocket and the look of shock on your face will go down in history.
In history?
Yeah. The thing is though, that's not the first time this has happened. So here is a video clip of the last time that Simon managed to lose the car keys. This is becoming quite a regular thing. Some of you may remember this one.
Put all the nets away and the poles away.
Oh, that was ages ago.
Keys
Don't be so
down there.
nasty.
That
was about 2 years ago.
You managed to lock yourself out of your
really
own
annoying.
car.
And
Yeah,
now we're well
that's impossible
screwed.
though. That's the thing that worries me. It's impossible.
Yeah,
And
Alice
poor
arrived.
Alice had to come and save me.
Yep, this is before COVID times if
Yeah.
you're worrying about masks and social distancing. But
And it was summer, Laura. I had a shirt on. It must have been really warm.
it
summer.
was, yeah.
I never take my sweatshirt off
Yeah.
until it's over
But
30.
Those keys have gone everywhere. In your bin, in the other car, in trousers that have gone in the wash. They make regular vacations around the centre and various places. Luckily, we've only had to replace them once, as far as I'm aware. But I'm just counting the time until the next one, really.
We did have to replace them when we wrote the car off. That was your fault. We
Yes,
wrote
but
the
that's
car
because
off.
we had to replace the car.
Yeah, but you wrote that was your fault.
You were driving!
Yeah, but I was stationary in a hedge. I was trying to get out of the way in the hedge, and this car just hit us straight on our side
You're
of the road.
not doing the whole
I blame you.
you look like a married couple thing.
You've already said that. You said earlier on, actually, just now, and I didn't interrupt. I was going to. Said, I think you said Simon and I. And I thought, God, that makes us sound like a couple. That really worries me.
No, that's just grammatically correct English, Simon. So, back to some of the questions to annoy the inane rambling of both Simon and I.
That's because we're tired, Laurie. We're tired. It's orphan season.
So, Denix has asked, have you ever needed to rescue an animal which you wouldn't have expected to rescue in your area? I can think of the snake for you.
You think of that then, Laurie, because I'll let you go with this one. I'm going to let you speak for a bit longer.
You actually went out to rescue a boa constrictor from behind a fridge. You remember that now. So Simon is not the fondest of snakes, and on that entire rescue, all Phil, the cameraman at the time, could do was constantly make jokes about, oh, it's going to get you, oh, it's going to get you. And the look on your face in some of those outtakes is just, oh, that's just good. But yeah, we've had a few. We've had the odd cat up a tree and things like that. That's definitely not common. We've had a lot of escaped exotics, things like corn snakes and things like that. The odd king snake. What about you? Can you think of anything particularly exotic? The otter was quite rare. hares, things like that. They're probably not the most common things here. But we deal with anything. So if you can think of it in terms of British wildlife, we have dealt with it in the past. But if you've done a red deer, that you did that on your own, and I did not want to get involved at all. I wasn't even here.
Very big red deer, huge.
Yeah,
enormous.
So for a bit of context on there, the usual deer that we deal with in the UK, the ones you see on the YouTube channel, are roe deer. So a good roe deer will weigh about 25 kilos. So that's not that much. The larger deer you've seen on a couple of our videos are called fallow deer. They weigh about 80 kilos. So we're getting into serious territory at this point. A big red stag will weigh 250 kilos. Quarter of a ton.
Really scary.
You don't want to get on the wrong side of that.
What you have to do is get that right. You can't get that wrong. You've got to make sure, be very sure before you go in there, because they are big.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, more comments. Razor2048. I would like to know if it would be good to occasionally put food out for any foxes, especially since urban areas take away from their habitat, thus making it harder and harder for them to find food.
Always very difficult, and Lawrie always leaves me to answer this one. So the answer is, this time of year there's no scarcity of food. The parents will be very, they'll be absolutely vigilant in looking for anything they can probably get. So if you've got pets in the garden, this is just like I'm thinking of an incident from years ago. Somebody had a pet rabbit. It was in a run in the garden. They didn't have a roof on it. A fox went in, got the pet rabbit. People absolutely, and I can understand it, really upset. But it's a wild animal. It can't go to Tesco's. It can't buy food. It's going to find the easiest source of food to feed its cubs. Jumped in, got the rabbit, and the foxes were well fed. I mean, the parents will find food. They will do anything to get their cubs through, and you can't blame them for that. You've got to blame us for not protecting the animals that we put out there, which wouldn't be there to be out in the wild. So yes, just be careful of that one, guys, especially this time of year. Do we need to feed foxes or fox cubs this time of year? No, we don't. And if we do feed them at all, it's only because they're really very ill and they need some medication or they need something, and it's for a few days only. Which takes us quite nicely to the next clip, because we're going to show you, I think Laurie's got it lined up, Yoda. If I say Yoda to you, it'll make your eye there, he's smiling. So
yes,
we get foxes
Yoda,
in who have mange.
Yoda.
There's all sorts of treatments for mange. Some of them work, some of them don't. But this guy came in looking in a real mess, and it's just one pill, which is, I must admit, £17.50. I know that for a fact because we sell them to people quite regularly at the trade price. We don't make money out of it. But he came in looking very sorry for himself, and he was released recently. And I'm sure you've got some pictures to back that up, Lawrie, as we speak.
I do. I'm just trying to find them because for some bizarre reason
Lawrie,
they don't appear
Laurie's
to have
lost
ended
a
up on
picture.
this,
Laurie's
live
lost a picture.
So talk amongst yourselves and I will dig them out.
Oh, poor Laurie, he's going to be embarrassed now.
Is it weird that I'm only 28 and am yet the most mature person in this live stream? Abby's probably beats me, to be honest.
But you're the only person who can't find the picture that you want when you've actually lined it up on my notes here to say that you know about it. So you have...
Luckily, this line is terrible and I can't hear you. That's probably highly insulting.
Have you found it? You still haven't found it, have you?
Oh, it's gone. It's gone entirely. I can't hear Simon at all. So what you're hearing now, I'm not hearing. Oh, he's back.
We had a fox in that was really very, very severely riddled with mange. It looked absolutely awful. He came in, his ears were flat, there were scabs and nasty stuff all over him. We gave him the pill, and about a month later, 6 weeks later, we actually released him. He still doesn't look much better, but trust me, that one pill, there he is, look at that boy, Yoda we called him because his ears were flat. Now, he went out not looking too much different from that, but a bit different, but that pill will have worked. In about 8 to 12 weeks, he will look like a different fox altogether. He looked so miserable when he came in. We fattened him up, we got him looking really good, and he went back out to the wild. So day 1 and day 12, you can see it's already getting better, and his ears are no longer Yoda-ish. But he's back out in the wild now, so don't always think you're going to see something immediately. It does take a while for the skin to get better, for all the scabs to disappear, for him to regrow new fur. I've been trying to feed it to myself and Lawrie for a long time, new fur, but my fur just hasn't come back at all. Very sad.
I have
Very
no
sad.
idea what you're talking about at all.
That's fine.
Flutterby0704 has asked, why do we have so many fox cubs in this year? Do mother foxes not survive birth? So all of them are coming for various reasons. The most common reason that we tend to get is abandonment. So the mother could have been spooked during birth or during moving of the cubs. What we tend to say is if you do see a fox cub that's out looking alone, call us or another wildlife rescue first. The main thing to do, keep them warm, so we put them on a heat pad or a hot water bottle or anything like that, and leave them in place. Try not to touch them, don't disturb them, step back and wait. Most of the time mum will come back and pick them up. Very occasionally mum won't, and at that point then we have to step in, bring them back to the centre, and they can join the skulk, as it is, that we have here, or other centres do as well. But usually with that we do try and get them back with their parents as much as possible. There are a number of other things. Caught by cats and dogs unfortunately happens quite a lot as well. A lot of them have been brought into domestic veterinary practices, confused as abandoned puppies or kittens, and unfortunately either too long to lapse to get them back with their parents, or not enough information has been taken about the location to be able to get them back. But we do see a bit of everything really, sort of entanglements and stuff like that.
The question just come in, which is quite interesting. Can mange move from foxes to dogs and cats? Yes, it can.
Yes,
it can
and
also
humans.
It can also move to humans. I have had mange. I call it scabies because that's what it is. Oh, you will have it this year, Lawrie. I will make sure you get scabies this year.
I've avoided that like the plague.
When your underpants are on the washing line, I should be rubbing them with scabies scabs. You'll get it.
That is a weird image.
It's easily curable. It's you know, everybody says, oh, if a fox gets mange, it's going to die. It's the same as scabies. Humans get it not too infrequently, and it's absolutely curable. So don't worry about it. I mean, we've been here 40 years. I think I've had mange or scabies twice. I've got 3 dogs who run quite near all the animals all the time. They've never had it. Touch wood. I'm touching wood quickly now just in case. But yeah, so it's curable. So don't worry about it too much. Yes, it is transferable. Yes, it is curable. Go on, Lawrie. Off you go.
Kel has asked, what's the most unusual rescue you've had to do, Simon?
I don't know. Everybody asks me. We get this question so many times. To me, every rescue we do is different and exciting, and it's always the best rescue at the time. I mean, recently we went out to just a common and garden pigeon stuck in a chimney, which I think we showed you last time. I think we did that last time. And we couldn't get it out. The gap was so small that we couldn't get the bird down through the chimney. Lawrie, as Lawrie is, was going to jump up onto the roof like Superman. Then he was going
to climb safely.
Yes, Lawrie climbed safely. Just let me get your mother on the line, Laura, and we'll go into that a bit further. Anyway, so
she's watching this, so hello.
All we had to do was to cut a little hole in a tiny bit of the top of the flue, and we did manage to put it out. So that, to me, was a great rescue. It was something we could achieve. It's something that the animal didn't die. We got him back out, and it's only a pigeon. To us, we're not species. I don't care what it is. If an animal's stuck and we can give it a second chance, I don't care what it is, we will do it. So that pigeon went out in the end absolutely fine. I think we brought him in for a couple of days, released him a few days later.
Yeah, he was a bit covered in soot, needed just to clear his eyes and things like that. So into his wing as well.
What's our best rescue, our most exciting rescue, whatever? The one we did last, most of the time. The one we did last. Especially when Laurie's covered in slime and dirty, smelly stuff. That was a great rescue.
That's all that needs. That's all that needs.
That's all that
question,
needs.
Just wondering, has there been any time, or many times, where you've had to recapture an animal after it's been released? Not that I can recall. I know we've had... we released a fox at one point that was brought in after being hit by a car, needed to be on a drip, so I had a shaved leg. We released it back, was going absolutely fine, and then about a week later it ended up being caught in a football net. We had to free it from that as well, and we recognised it from the same shaved patch on the leg. So that's the one I remember, but there's probably been a couple of others.
It's quite rare. It is quite rare. Sometimes we let an owl go or a bird go and it doesn't fly properly, and we do catch it up, but we know within seconds that it's not right. We always test our birds and our animals before they go anyway. Sometimes we get it a bit wrong and we're just not happy. I mean, would have probably been all right, but we just want to make sure it's absolutely 100%. So if we're in doubt, we bring it back, give it another couple of days and try it again later on. But quite rare, I hasten to add.
Yeah. On that note as well, there have been a few people who were worried on one of our recent rescue videos, which is the deer in the gate, that the marks on the side could have done with some sort of iodine spray or general antibiotics or anything like that. Those wounds are actually bruises. They're not wounds. The blood on the ground is from a very, very small cut that was on the foot, which also didn't require any sort of topical treatment. You can't really put sprays on feet because it would just come off so quickly. You can't use any sort of iodine spray on bruises. And with deer, they get something called catch myopathy, which is effectively a stress-related cell death, and their organs just start shutting down. So if you handle them too much, you bring them back to the centre for treatment or anything like that, they can just drop dead on you, even if they're otherwise absolutely fine.
I have to read this one. I don't often look at the chat. I was looking at it just then, and here is a question. How many times has Simon rescued Lawrie and re-released him?
It's not been a re-release. I've tried to escape. Unfortunately, he keeps catching me every single time. That's where he's gained all of experiences as a rescuer over the 40 years that we've been running. He just keeps trying to catch me. I'm the perfect training thing, and in fact we have a whole load of new rescuers starting, and they will be tasked over the next couple of weeks to try and catch me with a grass boat as I'm running around.
We did a big Zoom call, so we had 12 new rescuers, I think over 12 actually, come on board. It's very hard to teach anybody rescues because you can't always get everybody in to go on a rescue with you. So we had a big Zoom call, we showed them bits of video, and they're going to now come on board. You know, they'll start slowly, they'll rescue the easier things to start with. Rather like me, when I did my first rescue, I'd never rescued anything before. And it wasn't a difficult one, it was a swan, and you've heard that story, we won't go there again. But yeah, if you start slowly and just think and watch the YouTube channel, which is a great way of learning how to do rescues, they'll be absolutely fine. So Lawrie and I talked to them for 2 hours. They all fell asleep within half an hour, but I blame Lawrie for that one, absolutely.
I didn't even speak, and I still put them to sleep.
You have that effect, Lawrie. You have that effect all the time. Right, so we're running out of time,
I've just
Lawrie.
been notified as well. I've just given pages well over £200. So thank you so much to everyone. That is absolutely incredible. We say this every single time. We don't run on any sort of government funding or anything like that. We rely entirely on public donation supporters from people like yourself. So thank you so much to everyone who has donated here on YouTube, over on Facebook, on our website, or on our Just Giving. You really are helping to make a difference, and we can only do what we do thanks to your support. So huge thank you for that one.
So we've got a couple of things. I'm going to cut in there, Lawrie.
Okay.
We've got two things I want to talk about. We're going to show you a picture now of a very softly spoken Scotsman. And let's hope Lawrie doesn't miss this one.
Now, softly spoken Scotsman with a cheetah.
So there we are. So this is Douglas Anderson, who's come on board as our IDOT engagement officer. Really great guy. He's been all over the world working with different animals. He went to Namibia and worked with cheetahs, as I did. He's done some really exciting stuff. He's come on board to try to get people really excited about IDOT. Because if you think about every action we take here, every operation we do, every animal we rescue, everything we release is an IDOT. So really,
it's actually Douglas releasing an animal from a fence.
It's oryx.
It's a scimitar-horned oryx, by the way.
There you are. So yeah, so Douglas has done his bit. He's now going to work with IDOT and engage schools and groups and people. If you want to know more about IDOT, just send us an email, which I'm sure Abby or somebody can put that link up to you soon to IDOT at Wildlife Aid. I don't know what it is. Abby will have it.
Yes,
but
it is.
He's there
IDOT at wildlifeaid.org.uk.
He's there to engage with people. We want everybody doing IDOTs. Everything we do, actually, every day is an IDOT. And when we build the new centre, although it's a massive IDOT, it's still an IDOT. So we really want you to get excited about this, because we can rescue all the animals we want, but until people understand why they shouldn't have to be caught, why they shouldn't be in trouble, why they need safe habitat, all of which are IDOTs, this is really important. So we're hoping Douglas next time will be live with us at Wildlife Aid, already social distancing and everything we have to do, but great guy. He's going to be talking about IDOT, and so ask him all the questions you want. And I want you to ask him difficult questions, because I want to see how he copes under pressure.
So yes, hopefully Douglas will be able to share a bit about what he's done previously and talk to you guys a lot more about IDOT and where we're going forward with that as well. So that will be this time in 2 weeks' time.
Imminent. Now the last thing we've got to mention, we applied for some a grant from Surrey. Abby knows much more about this than me, but it's called Your Surrey Fund. It's an application you can put in to do something. So we put in an application. It's massive, guys. I don't think it'll ever get funded, but let's hope it will. It's to build the new centre. But we need lots of people to like it and agree it and do whatever. And Abby is now putting up something, I'm sure, that will tell you what you can do to tell you that it's a great idea. And it's not just UK, it's anybody in the world. And the more we get this international, actually, the more the Surrey community, the Surrey Fund, will think, blimey, everybody in the world's interested in this, so it's really important. So have a look at what she's putting up, come back onto it in a minute and have a look. But this is a possibility. It's a small possibility, but a lot of things in life, if you don't ask, you don't get. And if you do ask, with a bit of luck, one day you might get. So your Surrey
Fund. It doesn't
Fund,
take much time. All we need on there is you just to nominate us. That's it. That's all you need to do. It doesn't cost you anything, doesn't take any time or anything like that. You just go on there, you nominate us, you say that you support the cause, and then there's a share of quite a large sum of money from Surrey County Council that is distributed according to where the public feel that it should be distributed. So if you can nominate us, that would be absolutely incredible. They do ask about your relationship with Wildlife Aid. If you just put other and just put supporter, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't have to be a UK or Surrey postcode. It can be a zip code from America and wherever else in the world as well. So if you can do that, that would be amazing. Thank you so much if you can.
and we've got to mention Amazon. Amazon, if you're on Amazon, guys, if you just switch to Amazon Smile, that actually every time you buy something will give Wildlife Aid some money. So that's really cool. So if you've got an Amazon account and it's not Amazon Smile, please go onto Amazon Smile and nominate Wildlife Aid. That would be amazing, because we need all the help we can get. We trying desperately to build up Patreon members. I think we've got 95 last count I looked at. Yeah. We want to build that up, and you know, the more people we get on Patreon, we will give you some unabridged, unexpurgated, unabridged videos that I will make personally, which will be terrifying. But you'll get the real Simon Cowell then. He's a bit like the other Simon Cowell and Ricky Gervais mixed into two. So stand by, guys, because it can be pretty hairy stuff. But you know, your support means everything to us. The money you give us means everything to us. And you know, everybody says to me, it's all about money. It is. We can do what we do, and we do it well. And the more money we get, the more we can do things well. You know, there is a limit. If we run out of money, we can't do it. But if we don't run out of money, we can keep going. So that's really important. I'm just going to say, because we're getting very near sign-off time, we've had one of our major supporters who's been a bit poorly recently. We just want to wish her well. We want to wish her to get better, which she has been today a little bit. So to that secret supporter, thank you very much for your support. And we'll be after you for money in due course. You know that. I'm like that with everybody. I try it with Lawrie, but he always refuses. It's really sad.
So, moving away from the money side of things, last couple of minutes, we'll just do a couple of quick fire questions. You guys have sent in so many questions, so thank you so much. We'll try and get through as many as we possibly can over the next couple of minutes. So Karen has asked, there are a lot of rabbits in the Dorking area that sadly have myxomatosis. I brought one into you this evening. Does this pose a problem for other animals, such as domestic rabbits, cats, dogs, etc.?
It only poses a problem for other rabbits. Rabbits can pass mixy to other rabbits. It doesn't pose a problem for anything else at all. Sadly, there's nothing we can do. If you've got a domestic rabbit, it can actually be vaccinated against it, but then you have to have the vaccination every year. So it's not a thing for wild rabbits. It doesn't help, it doesn't work. So sadly, mixy rabbits, it's a rotten, horrible, slow death.
It's really not a nice way to go.
We do put them to sleep. But I know this sounds callous and it's not meant to, and perhaps I shouldn't say this. I'm going to watch Laurie's eyes widen in a minute. If something does have to be put to sleep, we put it back into the food chain so other animals can learn. So the fox cubs we've got in the moment, you know, they need to learn how to eat what they're going to eat in the wild. So if you can give them a little rabbit or something to eat now, when they get back out there, go, I recognise that, I can eat that tomorrow. So yeah, the food chain is ever evolving. It's just going round and round in a big circle as it should do. So yes, it all helps. So
we'll just clarify on that one as well. If an animal does go back into the food chain, either from a rescue attempt or anything like that, we do make sure that there's no drugs of any kind in its system at all before that happens. So the animal will be in a complete natural state before that is. If it has had any sort of medication, that can't happen. Just to clarify that.
That's really the reason why I'm never given any drugs, because they want to put me back into the food chain and they're terrified they're not going to be able to throw me over a hedge when the time comes. So, you know, I'm never given any drugs. I just suffer in silence, Lawrie, really, don't I? I suffer in silence.
You're never silent. Preston S has asked, what happens to poisoned rats?
Poisoned rats,
Depends on the poison, really.
Yeah, if we can get them better, we will. We try our very best, but if they're never going to make it, they are euthanized, and then we send them off for cremation. We obviously don't put them back into the food chain because even secondary poisoning can affect other animals. So yeah, that's what happens with those.
But there are multiple types of rat poison as well. A lot of those are treated with something like activated charcoal, vitamin K, things like that. Some of them, the more warfarin-based, sort of blood thinner-based poisons, they can be a lot more aggressive. We do unfortunately see neurological poisons as well. So it really depends what comes into how we can treat it. We do always try, and as Simon said, we will only go down the route of euthanasia if there is absolutely no other option on there. So Robert has asked, how many animals do you think you've successfully managed to get back into the wild over the last 41 years? That is quite a number.
Absolutely no idea. I could probably work it out and make a guess, but like everything in my life, it's a guess. So I'm not even going to go there. But I'm just, as I was talking about that answer, I was just worried. I wonder how Douglas is going to cope being on the live YouTube feed with you and I next week.
He's coping with
Do you think he's going to? No, I'm worried for him, for you. I think you could scare him. Douglas is easily scarable. You know, he's Scottish. He's a nice, warm-hearted, gentle man, and he's got to come up with the likes of you northerner you.
So, Mockingbird Got You has asked, Wildlife Aid, what's the hardest animal for you to catch? I'd say, for me, probably mobile deer. Okay, there's very, very few ways that you can safely catch those. The other one being birds that can fly, birds in warehouses and things like that.
I was going to say warehouses,
ducks.
that was mine.
Yeah,
mine was going to be warehouses.
Like that is still able to fly, because you have to get close enough to be able to net them or grab them or do anything like that. And there are several of those that won't let you get within 40, 50 feet of them before they disappear. So I'd probably say that was the hardest for me.
So Laurie's going to have deer, I'll have the sparrowhawks or kestrels in warehouses, and we're going from there. Laurie, you've got 1 minute. I'm going to give you 1 minute, Laurie. He always gets very, very cross with me after this, saying we could have gone on for much longer.
Suzanne has asked, do you microchip any of the animals you release back to the wild?
As much as we can. Microchips aren't that cheap, they're not that expensive. We always microchip all of our badger cubs, we microchip most of our fox cubs, we microchip most of our hedgehogs as well. But actually the chances of seeing them again are so small. I mean, I'd love some sort of monitoring system where we could chip something and we could track it on GPS. That would be just amazing to me. The sort of methods we have of tracking animals at the moment are heinously expensive. It normally means an external something on the body, which I don't ever like. I don't think that should be. But when we get a microchip that you can then monitor from GPS, I will be in my seventh heaven, because it'll tell wildlife centres whether they've done a good job, whether it's worked. And if an animal goes out from here and lives for 3 or 4 months, that's got to be classed as a successful release. It can't be wrong. So one day we'll get that, guys, but probably the first person I'll ever microchip is Lawrie Brady, to make sure I know where he is at all times.
So, several comments have been actually coming in. A few people, what happens with animals that have been humanized? So the vast majority of those, we will actually try and break that humanization. So we have very, very strict protocols here at the centre, working with the young animals to make sure that human contact is kept to an absolute minimum. And if it does need to happen, there is no stroking, no touching or anything like that. Animals are handled just in a very, very efficient way. You don't talk around them, you don't spend time around them, you don't sit there and just watch them. They are left to their own devices and will only intervene if necessary for feeding, cleaning and treatment purposes. Many animals that are slightly tame, you can break that back by keeping them with their own kind. So if we get, say, a slightly tame fox cub, if you raise it with a whole load of other fox cubs, by the time they're ready to go back to the wild, it will be trying to jump for your jugular. So there are many options of that. There is only very, very few. I can't actually recall a time, certainly that I know of, that we have failed to break an imprint or anything like that. Unfortunately, if an animal is severely imprinted, it will not survive in the wild at all. If an animal believes it's human, it won't know how to hunt, it will approach humans for food. We've had so many incidents of tamed foxes trapping people in their houses, or someone put a pitchfork through the side of one because they were so scared of it. So it's just, we will do everything we possibly can to break that. We've not failed yet, but if we were ever in that situation, unfortunately, it would be euthanasia at that point.
These were supposed to be quick fire answers, Lawrie. I timed that answer. Lawrie can time it later on and tell you what's going on. I think we're at the end. Anything else you want to say, Lawrie? You can say goodbye because I said hello. So you've got the sign off. You've got 30 seconds to shave and say goodbye to everybody and thank you, for being with us. And any questions, anything you've got for us, anything you want us to talk about next time we're on, please give us your feedback. Feedback is everything to us. It's very hard talking to a little camera in front of you when I love to talk to live audiences, because that's what it's all about. So Lawrie, 30 seconds, off you go now.
So as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support, all of your donations here on our Just Giving page. I've just been told that we are now well over £250 on that, so thank you so much. That's absolutely incredible. Thank you everyone who's left comments, questions. I'm sorry if we haven't managed to get to your comment or question today. We will try and do that as soon as we can on the next one. The next one will be in 2 weeks' time, and as Simon said earlier, we will be joined by Douglas Anderson, who is our new IDOT coordinator, really lovely man, who can talk us a bit about what he's done in the past and where we're going with IDOT as well. So if you haven't heard about IDOT, you don't really know what it is, join us in 2 weeks' time and you should hopefully know a lot more. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.